Hello and welcome to another episode of Queer Peer Reviews. I'm your host Jamie, and here at Queer Peer Reviews we review queer media, good, bad, and ugly. Today with me is my co-host Bruce.
Hello, and here at Queer Peer Reviews we review your favorite and not so favorite form of LGBTQ plus representation of media, going from comic books, TV shows, movies, etc.
Today we'll be featuring another queer character spotlight from Netflix's Umbrella Academy, who is Viktor Hargreeves, who is played by Elliot Page. So who is Viktor Hargreeves? Viktor is also known as number 7 within the Umbrella Academy, was one of 43 babies born on October 1st, 1989. Viktor is one of 7 siblings adopted by Reginald Hargreeves, who adopted all of these kids to try to save the world. Viktor always saw himself as the ordinary member of the Umbrella Academy, didn't think he had powers, which actually is quite the opposite. He was the most powerful out of all the siblings.
That's right, so his powers include power manipulation, absorption, sound manipulation, and telekinesis. So in the beginning of season 1, Viktor's powers were sort of unknown to him, but everyone else knew that his powers were mostly triggered by emotions, which is why they were suppressed, considering he is the most powerful member of the Umbrella Academy.
Yeah. And the reason why Viktor thought he didn't have any powers is because Reginald had his sister Allison use her powers to convince him that he'd never had them in the first place.
Exactly, which also lead to more emotional damage, thus revealing the fact that Viktor's true power is known as the white violin, which is a very uncontrollable sort of alternate personality that also caused the end of the world at the end of season 1.
So Viktor was first introduced as a queer character in the beginning of season 2 when he first got into a relationship with Sissy back in the 1963 timeline after she hit him with her gar. So unfortunately the relationship came to an end towards the end of the season when Sissy refused to go back into the future with her son Harlan with Viktor. But yeah, after going back into the future, Harlan, Sissy, and Viktor were all separated, thus ending the beautiful relationship that they did have. So it wasn't until Viktor arrived in the Sparrow timeline where he realized that he was trans. After learning about Sissy's death, we see him have a bit of a flashback where he remembers something Sissy had said to him in the past. So Sissy says to him, "You don't even notice the box that you're in until someone comes along and lets you out," which that person was Sissy for Viktor. He goes to this barber where he gets his first haircut as a trans man, and that's when he goes back to his family.
So the first members of his family to see him in his post-transition were Klaus, Five, and Diego, which all basically accepted who he was in the very, very meaningful way.
Yeah, so they first are introduced to Viktor being trans now is when they were all arguing, Viktor kind of stepped up and gave his own opinion, where I believe it's Diego that says, "Well, who elected you, Vanya?" And he just goes, it's Viktor now. And all of them They just sort of took it in. They were like, okay. Yeah. They all accepted it. And later on, Luther finds out, and what's very wholesome about Luther is that he wanted to sort of like throw a celebration party for Viktor for like his new, just to feel loved. And Diego responds is like, Diego just asked straight up Viktor, it's like, "Viktor, do you feel loved?" And Viktor's like, "Yes," just so to move forward with the whole process quick. Yeah. I love how Luther wanted to throw a party because he felt like it is a big deal, but Luther wanted it to be an even bigger deal, that they need to throw a party, a whole like a baby shower kinda. So let's dive into Allison and Viktor's interaction. So Allison feels guilty at first. She is upset because she never realized this sooner, but Viktor comforts her and tells her, like, it's okay, I didn't realize until Sissy, which I think is very common in the queer community. You don't realize things until that one moment where something happens and you realize what your identity is. And that's when Viktor says, "I've always hated mirrors. I always thought everybody felt strange in their skin." That's when Allison asks him, "What do you see now?" And Viktor goes, "Me, just me." And I really like that interaction because it was short and simple, and I like that none of the siblings ever really questioned the transition at all, which was amazing.
To be fair, it's nothing that weirds them out. They have been through really strange situations, so there's nothing really to surprise them at this point.
Yeah, nothing phases them at this
nothing
point.
Phases
but it's also that family love. Well,
exactly.
they do fight a lot, but I like the support they had for each other during those moments.
Better support than the sparrows. So I guess sort of like the last, the latest person, or like the last person to see Viktor as himself is Harlan, who back in season 2 was just this kid who knew Viktor as someone else, and therefore in the future Harlan's is older now, way old, like an older person, and sees Viktor once more, and so Harlan just casually asks, "Your sisters call you Viktor? Is that what I should call you?" And just sort of left it at that. And it's like, yeah. Viktor just says, yeah, I would prefer it that way. And that's what he just leaves it at.
Yeah. And again, I just love how nobody really questions it, and they're all very accepting.
It was like the whole accepting was just very wholesome.
Yeah. Even Harlan, who was from 1960.
It's also because Harlan is pretty much used to LGBT representation because his mom fully became gay and forward on and dated other women. So he's used to stuff like that.
And a fun fact about all this now, if you go back to the previous seasons of Umbrella Academy, you'll see that Netflix changed all of Elliot Page's roles to his new name.
That's what I did. The moment Elliot Page finally came out, I wanted to just check every of his filmography and see if some of the edits were changed, and most of them were pretty much changed.
Yeah, and Elliot is also the first person that comes up in the credits now, after the show's
I noticed
over.
That too.
Which I think is amazing, because to have a trans person be like, because it's always in order of importance most of the time for credits, and just to have Elliot Page there as the first name you see is very powerful.
Especially what made Elliot Page's character more important is because before season 3 happened, when Elliot Page, before it came out, everybody was speculating about Elliot's character in Umbrella Academy and how it was going to turn out. Everybody was asking about that, and the moment they learned that the character would also transition as well, everybody was just really curious to see how this character was going to be more in season 3.
Yeah, I was so looking forward to see how they would handle it, and frankly, I believe they handled it extremely well.
Very much.
Yeah, I know a lot of people speculated like something would happen like in the time jump, and it would transition Elliot's character into Viktor, but in the case it's actually Viktor himself that does the transition. It's not some sort of supernatural thing that changes him. It was all himself.
And I really like that they included season 2 to make it more seamless. Like it was like, oh, this happened as it was. It wasn't just like out of nowhere writing. It was like, oh, suddenly Viktor is Viktor. Like no, it happened like as season 2, like going on and so forth.
Yeah. One thing I do have to comment though, pre the transition in episode 1, that wig, that was a very bad
That was
wig.
a fake wig.
That was it.
I caught that so quick.
They did Elliot dirty with that wig. Like if you look at Elliot's character throughout the different seasons, you can tell that wig, they just brought that hairline to like the middle of his skull. All of that.
Yes, that was a difference. That's what threw me off.
Like, what is going on here? All right, so let's get to the ratings for Viktor Hargreeves. For character spotlights, we are only going to be doing it out of 4 ratings, which will be representation, the closet scale, impact, and overall.
So let's start with representation.
And for representation, we give it 10 and a 9.8. So explain your perfect score.
So I gave it a perfect score because the way Viktor was represented in the season 3 was very well done, very wholesome, and it wasn't like, nothing was negative out of it. Even with all the arguments, it was never like, Viktor wasn't like insulted just because of his transition. It was just because of just, character-wise, personality. That's it. No, they never touched the subject. They accepted who he was and they moved on, casually as it is.
So the reason why I give it a 9.8 instead of 10, like Bruce said, it's amazing way of handling it. There wasn't anybody that questioned it or anything. I just feel like I love that all of the reactions were very short and simple and accepting. I feel like all of them were a little too short. I just feel like with all of them being quick, it kind of felt like they were just trying to get it out of the way, like push, like, okay, like let's get the transition
That is also
out of
true.
there. Yeah, but again, like it's not a bad thing that they were all short and simple. I really like the reactions and everything.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I think near perfect. I think they handled it extremely well. All right, so let's move on to the closet scale. If we were still in the closet, how much would Viktor Hargreeves' character inspire us to come out? So for that, we give it...
Ah.
What do you give? 10 and a 10.
10.
Perfect all around. All right, so want me to go or you?
Well, yeah, so what made this a perfect score is just overall the sense of being being yourself. So yeah, from the especially what Viktor heard from Sissy about, you know, being oneself and being interacted and the family interaction with Viktor, with Viktor's like I guess post transition. It was very accepting, very wholesome. It would make majority of people just be like, you know, I really want to be more myself now.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and just to hop off of what you said about the family being super accepting, not only did Viktor have to come out once, Viktor came out twice, like in season 2 when he revealed his relationship with Sissy pre-transition. He had to like come out to his family about that, and they were all accepting about it. During the times, like the people that weren't related to him weren't super accepting because it was the 60s.
It was the 60s.
But nonetheless, like Viktor's family was very accepting, and just all the reactions that Viktor received for both instances of coming out is all anybody could really wish for when you come out to your friends and family.
Next up is Impact.
Wow. Hey, 9.8.
Wow.
9.8.
But yeah, no, it is. But it's a very high score for Impact because because I want to say the biggest impact mostly is because since Elliot Page post transition happened, it was more like what's going to happen for season 3 of Umbrella Academy, and thus they introduced, including even the showrunner was super excited to even incorporate Elliot's transition into Viktor, and you know become Viktor.
But yeah, just having such a powerful character like Viktor Hargreeves represent the trans community is definitely very impactful, because while we are starting to get more and more trans characters in media, something as popular as the Umbrella Academy having a trans character as one of like the main characters is just so powerful. And just to see Viktor's transition from season 1 to season 2 and now season 3 with him being a fully transitioned character, just very powerful, because before season 2 we didn't have a lot of queer representation besides Klaus, but it wasn't even really touched on upon that much with him. And now as the seasons have progressed, you just get more queer representation by the day.
So overall, 10.
No surprise there from both of us. All right, so yeah, honestly, like, fantastic job made by Netflix and everyone behind the Umbrella Academy for handling Viktor's transition. Very powerful. I love how they wrote it in. It wasn't just some, okay, boom, Viktor is trans. It was touched on the whole ending of episode 1, I believe. They dedicated this whole segment, and they had quotes from second season, which they made relate to Viktor's transition.
Which is even more amazing, because before, like, no one knew this was going to happen, but yet they made season 2 work into Viktor's transition.
And everybody was looking forward to, like, how are they going to handle this? Like, even people who were supportive of it, people who weren't supportive of it were just wondering. Everybody was wondering, how are they going to handle this? And they just did a really good job.
Yeah, so I respect the writers, especially that they were more excited to do this too. They weren't like, oh, I don't know how we're going to do this. No, they were just like hyped to do this. And yeah, so respect to that, Netflix.
Yeah.
So this is like opposite. This is opposite to the last episode where we said fuck Netflix, and now this one we're like, good job, Netflix. You got your ups and downs, but this one was a big up. Stop canceling good shows, guys.
All right, so now let's move on to our QPR total for Elliot Page's character, Viktor Hargreeves. AJ, hit us with that gay shit.
Wait, really? Is that a...
Yes.
Now that's our thing. So the QPR total score is 79.4 out of 80.
Okay.
And the percentage is 99.25%.
A gay plus. That's
A gay plus,
It is a gay
yeah.
plus.
I hope we can get an updated Funko Pop soon.
Yeah, unfortunately,
We still got season 1.
season
Victor.
1 or season 2. I
We
forget
need
which
season
is
3. No, I think that's season. I think that's season 2.
All right, so thank you again for watching this episode of Queer Peer Reviews. Stay tuned for next time. Follow our social media, subscribe to us on YouTube for more videos. We will have a link in the description for the Trevor Project as well as other fundraisers you can donate to.
Can't wait for season 4.
Can't wait. Thanks for watching.